Alberto, and then I will also present Joserra and Olach before their presentation, okay? One each time. Okay, so we will start. Hi, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. This is Aitor from Vitoria, and we are going to start with the webinar about urban regeneration, dealing especially with retrofitting in the Basque Country, and also financial instruments. First of all, thanks to all the presenters, Alberto, Joserra, and Olach. The third one is going to be here in half-hour time. She's in another meeting right now, but that's not a problem, because we will start with Alberto Ortiz Delguea from Visesa. That is the public housing agency in the Basque Country. Alberto is an industrial engineering from Vitoria-Gasteiz. He's a master's degree on thermal installations in buildings with more than 20 years of experience as energy project manager. He's currently coordinating the pilot in Vitoria-Gasteiz of SmartEnCity, the Horizon 2020 Lighthouse project with Vitoria, Sondenborg, and Tartu and May Lighthouse cities. We will speak now about the Coronation Neighborhood Project, the pilot project here, dealing with not only retrofitting, but also a district heating network, and especially with a lot of things to tell us about citizen engagement. Please, Alberto, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Aitor. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to share my presentation. I hope there's no problem. Can you see my presentation now?
Yes, Alberto.
Okay. So as Aitor has said, I am local coordinator of the Vitoria-Gasteiz Lighthouse within the European project SmartEnCity. And I am going to describe our experience in citizen engagement, mainly getting citizens joining the project for retrofitting their homes. So to begin, I work for Visesa. Visesa, as Aitor has said, is the public promoter of social housing, and we belong to the Basque government. In this project, we coordinate the intervention in Vitoria-Gasteiz within the SmartEnCity project, and we are the leaders of the citizen engagement and retrofitting tasks. It's important the role of Visesa, as I will explain after, because we will have the role of co-promoters of the retrofitting actions. So let's go to introduce what the SmartEnCity project is. SmartEnCity is a European project financed by Horizon 2020 in the Smart Cities and Communities program. You can get information about the project in our webpage, that is there. In this case, the objective of the project is to define a strategy towards smart zero CO2 cities and to demonstrate this strategy in 3 lighthouse cities. The first one is Vitoria-Gasteiz, the other one is Tartu in Estonia, and the other one Sonderborg in Denmark. And within the project, we have 2 follower cities too, to replicate the experience in the future. The project has equilibrated actions in 3 main pillars that will be deployed in the 3 cities. The 3 pillars are low energy districts, reducing the demand of the buildings, renovating them. The second, the implementation of renewable energies at big scale through integrated infrastructures, generally district heating networks. And the third one is the sustainable mobility. And all of that, of course, managed and monitor using ICT tools and platforms. If we go to the Vitoria-Gasteiz Lighthouse, mobility, I have to say that mobility actions are deployed at city level, but the other actions that are buildings retrofitting and a new district heating deployment will be deployed in a concrete demo area that is Coronation, the Coronation district. with more or less 1,305 dwellings in the area, as you can see here. This is the area. Here we have the estimated budget for each action. We have, this is the budget for an intervention of retrofitting up to 705 dwellings. That was the European grants, up to 750 dwellings. That was our initial challenge and objective. Finally, it was not possible to reach that figure, and we reached 312 dwellings during the project. Regarding the mobility, this is the 750 dwellings retrofitting, that is more or less 15 million euros for the deployment of the new district heating network. And after that, you have some budget from the municipality for public space improvement. After that, the sustainable mobility actions and the development of an ICT platform. Here we have the total budget for the intervention. What is the retrofitting proposal to homeowners? In order to comply the energy efficiency and CO2 reduction commitments of the project, the technical proposal deals with two issues that are mandatory at the same time. One is the reduction of 50% of the heating demand through the insulation of the whole envelope of the buildings, generally are residential buildings, with external thermal insulation system with between 12-14 centimeters of insulation in the facade and in the roof, and with the installation of a double window or a replacement or replacing the existing one, depending on the cases. And after that, the reduction of 90% of CO2 emissions, replacing the actual natural gas individual boilers, because here in this district, generally homes have a natural gas individual boilers, and we are proposing the connection of the buildings, of the dwellings, to a new district heating, new biomass district heating infrastructure. In order, it's important to say, especially for the tenants, for the homeowners, that to get the grants is mandatory to accept the implementation of both actions, envelope renovation and connection to the district heating. If they don't want, for example, to connect their home, their dwelling to the district heating, they are not able to get the European funds. And what is the financial scheme in this case? The very average cost of the intervention is more or less 21,000 euros per dwelling, and 54% of this quantity, of this cost, is subsidized by the different administrations. European Commission through Horizon 2020 funds, 33%, 25% by the Basque government, and 6% by the municipality, by the Vitoria-Gasteiz municipality. And the homeowners have to pay the 46% plus the VAT. The VAT that is not included in the grants. In this case, in this project, with the intention of not leaving any citizen out of the project, a warranty fund was created for people with low incomes, being possible to obtain a subsidy of 100%, but included in the cases of lowest incomes. And how to do it? In this case, we are proposing, in order to implement this action, European Commission didn't want to give, initially at the beginning of this project, the European Commission told us that they didn't want to give their grants directly to the homeowners, and that they preferred to give the money to a company beneficiary of the project, one company or one of the partners in the consortium. So we proposed the following business model. Visesa, as Basque public housing, social housing promoter, receives grants from European Commission, Horizon 2020, municipality and Basque government, and signs agreements with each building community of owners. Visesa acts as delegate promoter on behalf of them. So Visesa manages, contracts, supervises, and finances the correct design and execution of the retrofitting works, delivering the final product turnkey to its owners and charging them the cost different, less subsidies. It's important to say that for them, the advantage is that they don't have to pay the total cost of the retrofitting and years later receive the grants, like in other regular grants. In this case, they only have to pay the 46%. Additionally, Visesa, as public promoter of housing, launches tendering processes for the design projects and retrofitting works, getting best value for money bidders and getting good conditions for the retrofitting works. So from Visesa, we manage, as we have said here, we have different tasks. One is the to prepare informative material in order to get explanations to the neighbors about adhesion process, prices of the solution in each of the buildings, subsidies and technical solutions. We assistance to the citizens through the entire process, from the adhesion signing to the materialization of the retrofitting works of their buildings. We manage the different subsidies, European, regional, and local, on behalf of them. And we tender, we get the building permits, we tender and supervise both design projects and retrofitting works. And finally, we monitor the results in order to inform, in order to know the results, of course, and in order to inform European Commissions. Okay, but but we have some barriers we have some barriers for the implementation. As SmartEnCity is a lighthouse project example for replication, the demo area was selected as one of the degraded districts in the city with higher need of actuation due to its socio-economic degradation. From the social point of view, Coronación is one of the best places for the demo action, but it is also one of the most difficult in the city. Basque government, in their diagnosis of intervention needs in the renovation of the residential buildings at a Basque Country level, that is an inventory of the vulnerable districts in the Basque Country, stated 60 districts with most in need of intervention in Basque Country, being Coronación, our demo site, the district with the highest priority in our city, Vitoria-Gasteiz. Coronación is one of the oldest neighborhoods in the city, built and inhabited in the early 20th century. Buildings are from the 50s, 60s, and of course they don't have insulation. Another, as we can see here, the district has one of the highest aging index in the city, high index of foreign population, low economic level, 27% lower than the city average, high unemployment rate, higher than the average in the city, and the 27% of the inhabitants live in rented houses. So the challenge was important in this case. Apart from this, we have another barriers. Of course, and as probably you know, the deadlines of the European projects generally are shorter than the time needed for urban regeneration projects consolidation. Citizens need more time probably to know the project, to decide, and to implement the actions. Another barrier important is that there is was mandatory the connection of the buildings to the future district heating in order to get the adhesions. But there is no culture of common infrastructures. Generally, homes have natural gas, individual boilers, and they don't like, they prefer to maintain their individual source of heat instead of using common infrastructures. And another important barrier is that in this case, there are no housing associations. The characteristics of Vitoria or of Spain in general is that in this case, for example, in this demo area, there is 135 dwellings. Each of one has a private home owner, but the retrofitting decision has to be taken at building community of owners. This needs at least an adhesion agreement up to, well, more than 60% of homeowners have to agree in the adhesion to the project. There are no housing associations or other organized structures that can work as nodes to socialize the project. So we had to commercialize the project with each of the 108 different buildings. But the project did not make sense without the involvement of citizens, of course. Being private homeowners, in order to be rehabilitated, we need them to join the project. So since the beginning of the project, we began with an intensive citizen engagement action plan in order to get adhesions of homeowners to the project. At the beginning, was quite difficult because this was a top to bottom project. Was a project designed and defined in the administration, from the administration, and there was not a demand of an intervention from the neighbors, from the citizens. Although when the administration prepared the project proposal for the Horizon 2020 call, got the support of the neighborhood association, but we didn't inform about it to homeowners until we get the European Commission approval of grants, of course, because it was impossible to inform about grants to the neighbors when they were not sure, no? They were not guaranteed. So citizens in this case felt the project as an imposition from the administration. And at the beginning, they rejected it. We needed a lot of time and efforts of information in order to be accepted by them as their own project and beneficial to them, and as accepted it as beneficial to them. So we began with public presentations the first year. We need almost 1 year of preparation of the product in order to sell it. I mean, cost and technical solutions for each of the 108 buildings. We made some pre-design projects of different typologies of buildings in the district and extrapolated to the rest of buildings. We prepare exhibitions to show these retrofitting design projects. We prepare documentation for homeowners, a lot of meetings with them, explaining the project and the cost of it. And as we can see here in this chart, here is the evolution of buildings joining the project during the project period. As you can see here, the first 2 years, we only got one building. The early adopters, as we call them, early adopters as an example, that is only one building. And later, more and more buildings joined the project until now. Actually, we have finally have 27 buildings joining the project. That is 312 dwellings. So now I'm going to describe the main citizen engagement actions implemented. We began with informative events at the beginning of 2016. With public presentation of the project by the city mayor, some administrations, council, housing councillor, and the European Commission's representative. After that, we organized public events informing about the project with more than 550 attendees. In September of 2016, we, within the Sustainable Mobility Week, that is in the streets of the demo area, we make a presentation or of the project with workshops and other activities organized in the heart of the demo area. In October of that year, we organized an exhibition with the preliminary retrofitting projects carried out through panels and samples. We can see here samples of how the insulations can be, the different choices and different prices, of course, of the different solutions for insulation, the envelope of the buildings. One important action, in my opinion, was is to identify leaders in the neighborhood in order to inform them and involve them in the project as project ambassadors. Rest of neighbors trust them more than us. So it's very important to have them with us joining in the project, pushing the project and informing about the project to the rest of neighbors. So firstly, we identify the district relevant stakeholders. We organize workshops with them in order to establish a plan with shared goals. And after that, we continue with a process of co-creation of the informative material. Of course, we had the information, but they told us how they could understand our information. So it was a co-creation process. And finally, we select and recruit an early adopter community, a first building that wanted to retrofit their building. Very important as a first result of the project. So it was very important as the best publicity to sell the project to the rest of homeowners. We selected this building, Eulogio Cerdán 4. We worked with them in the definition of the solution. We used their facade in order to put a canvas here promoting the project. And finally, we retrofitted, and this is the final result. This is how it was at the beginning in 2016 and how it was 2 years after. So the improvement is very important and is the best example or the best publicity to sell the project. In our case, in this project, we tried to do it before, but it took, the retrofitting works took too much time to finish. So it is a lesson learned for next projects to begin with the initial action before than we did. Another typical citizen engagement actions are, of course, a local website with all the information about the project, radio interviews, mailing campaigns. We prepare some brochures, simulation of the foreseen public space changes, how it is going to be in the future, how it is going to be modified in order to improve their use and the accessibility. We prepare brochures with financial simulation case studies for the owners, the home owners, And we prepare some videos that you can see on the website, on the web. You have here the different addresses. It's important. One of them is about the project details, but the other one, and I think is quite important from the citizen engagement point of view, it has real testimonies of neighbors already adhered to the project, expressing their opinion about it. If you have time, I would like to tell you to look at that. And another important lesson learned in this project was the project information office. Actually, with more than 1,600 visits attended until now. Initially, we use a citizen information office, but out of the demo area in order to have meetings with owners, etc. But was unsuccessful. Why? Because people from the district want the information office at the heart of their district, of their neighborhood. So in December 2017, we opened an information site at the heart of the Coronation district with the objective of the proximity to the neighbors and advising them in the adhesion decision process, signing contracts, technical meetings, etc. Finally, another important citizen engagement action for us, and this is another lesson learned, was the door-to-door campaign with more than 650 homes visited during the project in order to get the adhesion to the project from the homeowners. Many of them are elderly people that sometimes have problems to go to the information office and they need an attention there in their homes, no? Probably because they have problems to go or they don't want to go to the information office or to the meetings with the rest of home owners because sometimes they don't understand very well the information and they prefer an explanation, an individual explanation about that. And currently, we are deploying some actions with homeowners adhered to the project once we have finished the retrofitting of their building. For example, monitoring the dissemination because we install different meters in their homes in order to know the quality of the comfort of their home in terms of CO2, in terms of temperature, in terms of humidity, and we also monitor the consumption, the energy consumption. And we have also have awareness meetings with them about good practices for the use of their houses after being renovated. In terms of ventilation, of course, if we insulate more the building, the ventilation is more important in order to avoid condensations and all of that. And after this intensive engagement actions, as a summary, we have here some figures about the public informative events. 10 has been meetings with communities of homeowners, more than 300, phone calls to homeowners, more than 400, visits attended in the project information office, more than 1,600, door-to-door campaign visits, more than 600, advertising cards in mail campaigns, radio campaigns, etc., with the final results of 27 buildings, 312 dwellings, signed contracts for the retrofitting within this project. It looks not too much, probably, but we have to think that is 300. Well, they have to get the agreement within the community of owners, and sometimes it's quite difficult because some people are elderly people, and we have some problems with that. And it's curious, like the SmartEnCity domino effect, the replication, because out of the project, at the moment, other 5 buildings, 64 flats, are retrofitting their buildings too, and some additional ones around, in the districts around Coronación. How is the current situation in terms of retrofitting, in the implementation of retrofitting? We have 27 buildings. The projects are finished and works tender for all of them. The retrofitting works have been awarded for the 81%, 22 buildings, and 11 buildings have been finished now. And we are monitoring them since December 2018. Are promising. The results are preliminary, but are quite promising, with energy and CO2 savings up to 60% at this moment. The district heating network is not deployed yet. It is going to begin just this month, the deployment of the district heating, but it's not working, of course, because it's new, and it will be do it next year. It will be ready at the end of the next year. So the rest of buildings will be retrofitted before May of the next year. And after to finish my presentation, I would like to show you some pictures of the buildings already finished as an example. Here we have, this is Eulogio Cerdán. You can see on the left how it was before, how it is now. On the right, this is Eulogio Cerdán from the back part of this building. Here you can see another one, Aldave 7, this building. The back part of the same building, before and after. This is another one, Coronación 6. Pasaje Eulogio Cerdán 4, another one, how it is now. Of course, the homeowners are very satisfied, not so much because of the energy reduction, consumption reduction, that is important, of course, but the comfort, the increment in the comfort. The comfort is much higher now, especially not only in winter, but in summer too, because of the overheating that they had before, especially the highest dwellings. And here we have, for example, another example where we have done ventilated facade instead of ethics. No? And that's all from my part. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much for participating in your webinar. And here you have my contact details for any comment or whatever you want. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alberto. Yeah, okay, there are already several questions in the chat box, but we will do all together at the end of the three presentations, okay? Now it's time for Joserra from the Basque Energy Agency, José Ramón López. He works in the international area of this Basque Energy Agency. That is the Basque government's body responsible of the implementation of the regional energy policies. Joserra has been working in the management of European funded projects for the last 18 years and is now the coordinator of this Basque Energy Agency activities in the Europace and Opengela projects. And he is going to speak about this last project, Opengela, and he will explain, but it's about dealing with the creation of neighborhood offices to act as one-stop shops, as Alberto already showed us with the previous project, to provide advice and support to the neighborhood community. Please, Joserra, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Aitor. Good afternoon to everybody. I will try to show my presentation and is it?
We see it. You have to put the presenter mode.
I'm on it.
Mm-hmm.
Is it okay?
Not yet.
Should be somehow. Sorry, maybe I can try to do it this way. I don't know.
Try again. We could see before the presentation, but now in the full screen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
No, try again to share the screen. We are still on time.
Yeah, good. Yeah, we were testing it before, but I don't know why.
Yeah. Here it is again.
I don't know why it is not working.
We see now the presentation.
It should be working somehow. Maybe. Okay, maybe I can check it here. Okay, I will try to minimize this. Okay, doesn't work?
We see the presentation, but all the
Now,
full PowerPoint.
Now. Now?
Now it is perfect. Joserra, go ahead.
Okay, so thank you for your kind presentation, Aitor. Good afternoon to everybody. I will, as Aitor mentioned, I'm going to introduce the one-stop shop concept that we are developing in our project, Opengela. It is a brand new project. It started in May 2019, and it's funded by the H2020 program of the European Union. Do you see the next slide?
Yes.
Okay. First, I would like to give you some context about the Basque Country. The Basque Country is a region in the north of Spain. Because I don't know what's going on because I'm not able to see my presentation on the screen, and I'm a little bit. Sorry for this. Okay. Es que no sé qué está pasando.
No problem. We see it, Joserra. Now it's not.
No, okay. Do you see it? No.
Not yet. No, we see your only you. Your camera is charging now. It's already the PowerPoint. Use it like that. If it doesn't matter.
Okay.
You can make it a little bit larger, and
okay.
That's all.
Okay. So we have a population of 2.2 million people, approximately 300 inhabitants per square kilometers. So it is a small area, a small region with a very dense population. Okay, with 3 urban nodes that are at very short distance, less than 100 kilometers, San Sebastian, Bilbao, and Vitoria-Gasteiz. I will give you some relevant figures about the Basque Country. Our gross domestic product is higher than average Spain. Our region is a highly industrialized area. We have aged population. This is something very important to take into account when it comes to the housing sector. We also have an old building stock. It's one of the first thing that take into account is that our housing stock is the oldest in the European Union. Well, maybe in the UK the situation is similar. 43% of the buildings were built before 1961. We have mainly condominium blocks with accessibility and energy efficiency issues. In these multi-property buildings with high levels of ownership, the decision-making process for building renovation is very difficult, as, for example, they have experience in Coronación, in Vitoria. The consumption in the building sector is low compared to industry. In industry, the consumption of primary energy is 40%, while in the housing sector is less than 18%. So has nothing to do with the average European situation, in which homes consume 40% of the energy demand. This is also a barrier. And additionally, we have a mild climate, which makes retrofitting payback much longer than in Northern Europe. So we have all that ingredients, an old housing stock, and a lot of barriers that make that the renovation of homes is not taking into consideration energy efficiency and is not being carried out as in the pace as it could be done. On the other hand, in 2012, the Basque government conducted a study on the building stock, and taking into account a number of indicators that are expressed there in my slide, this study concluded that more than 30% of the population in the Basque Country lives in vulnerable conditions. In the last 40 years, there have been subsidies programs from the government to try to solve this situation, but after that, we are in similar conditions. And there are still 30 districts that require immediate action because they are in the situation of being vulnerable or very vulnerable districts. In this context, the Basque government, the Basque Energy Agency, local public organizations dealing with urban regeneration have started the Opengela project. This means a clear leadership and involvement of the different levels of the public administration, at regional level and local level as well. Opengela has the ambition to contribute to the renovation of all the housing stock of the Basque Country until 2050. This is approximately 1 million homes. At this early stage, we have put the focus on vulnerable districts as priority areas of intervention. Also, at this stage, we have been working for more than 1 year and have established 2 pilot district offices, and right now we are defining the management entity for the program in the Basque Country. With all these ingredients, we are designing a program that includes a coordinated network of district offices with the involvement of all levels of the administration, with the objective of renovating the Basque housing stock, with a focus on energy efficiency, and with a focus on vulnerable districts. We are checking the concept of one-stop shops and district offices as a tool to support the renovation wave at the district level. We believe that the renovation should focus in districts. This brings a multiplying effect, economies of scale, and the creation of local economies at district level. That's why our program includes the establishment of physical district offices as a tool to articulate all the aspects related to home renovation. As said before, we put special attention to the social issues as we are focusing on vulnerable districts that, by the way, are the ones that might suffer the post-COVID-19 crisis with a higher intensity. Improvements in the districts will bring the creation of local economies, jobs, and social cohesion. Energy saving, obviously, is not the only trigger for the renovation in our region. The main aspects to take into account, and Alberto have also mentioned that, should be the comfort, health, and other non-tangible issues. That's why our program includes other levers to home renovation as accessibility, safety, and district regeneration. In any case, our program, our priorities in energy renovation include strengthened passive measures in order to reduce the demand and prioritize renewable energy generation. This is really ambitious for the south of Europe, but we trust in the levers provided by accessibility, safety, urban regeneration, and the social aspects we are covering by our program. As I mentioned before, our program includes 2 pilots established in Ocharcoaga district in Bilbao and Chonta district in Eibar. By the way, both cities have a team in La Liga. Both areas have a number of social issues. Maybe we will share the slides and the presentation later, so you can check about the particularities of the districts. One important thing to take into account is that we are working with local companies, local public companies that are working directly in those districts and that have established these district offices. As for these district offices, they will provide a holistic service to the citizens. They will guide them and will accompany them through the renovation journey, not only at building level, but also at district level. This includes, among others, uh, technical assistance, a one-stop shop to apply for subsidies, and financing. We are working in the definition and the creation of a financial instrument ad hoc that is designed for energy renovation. And we through the district offices, we will also do a follow-up of the works and the follow-up of the energy savings in the interventions. The offices are planned to be a physical point. We believe that this might attract the interest of people, raise their interest, and will improve the closeness, and that will generate trust. The offices might also be a social meeting point for the district. In any case, we think that we need to test how the operation of the offices will be, because the reality now after COVID crisis might be different. So we still need to check how the offices will work. As I mentioned before, we are designing a management structure to coordinate all the district offices. At this moment, these two offices, but in the future, the other offices in the different districts that will operate in the Basque Country and will participate in the program. The structure and competencies of this body are now under discussion with all the participants in the project, but we expect that this will be articulated from a public-private collaboration with the participation of different levels of administration and private companies that are helping providing financing and providing technical support. But we still haven't defined the scheme, so I'm afraid I cannot give you more information about that at this very moment. So, summarizing, for us, energy is not the main trigger for renovation. There are other levers like accessibility, regeneration, health, and so on that will help us to make our interventions and include energy in the interventions. The involvement of regional authorities provides stability, a vision, political vision, and ambition to the projects. That helps their replicability and the extension of the program. The district approach provides opportunities for involvement of the citizens, builds trust, and builds confidence on the project, and provides higher implication from the private sector. The physical one-stop shop multiplies the opportunities and gives us the opportunity of addressing the population with the, approaching the program to the population. And we should not forget the social aspect of the issue of home renovation, like energy poverty, accessibility issues, gender perspective, and so on. So that's all from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joserra. Interesting, really nice. I didn't know nothing about OpenGela. It's really interesting. Now we will finish with our last presenter. That is Olach Nicolas from Tecnalia. That is a research and technology center in the Basque Country. She's an architect, participates in the Agree project that she's going to present us now. She also participates in other European projects related to rehabilitation, energy efficiency, both at the building scale as well as in the urban environment. So after Olad's presentation, we will have a question and answer sessions, okay? Hi, Olad, go ahead, please.
Hello. Yeah, I'm trying to get my presentation.
Try to see the screen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have always problems with the Teams. Yeah, I don't like this.
Is it? I cannot see it here.
Do you have the software? Yes. Are you using?
Yeah.
If you are using the web application, it doesn't allow you to share. Just try to connect again using just the software instead of the web browser.
Okay, so shall I go out and get in again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Joserra, se te oye. Tienes que apagar el micrófono.
In the meantime, we will follow the questions in the chat box for the next session, okay? If you want to introduce more questions in the meantime, or if not, after I finish reading the questions there, you can just start talking. You can unmute your microphones. This presentation will be around 10 minutes, 10, 12 minutes, and then we have nearly 20 minutes for questions, okay? Let's see if Olaj can connect again and share the presentation. So Josera, in the meantime, are you thinking on placing one office in Álava or in Vitoria? Or still has to be decided in Opengela?
Hi.
Hi, Jose.
Yes, I mean, our ambition, as I mentioned before, is to extend the program.
Try Olaj, we are just talking in between.
Do you listen to me?
Yeah, yes, Josera.
Extend the program to all the Basque Country.
Cool.
At this moment, we are in pilot phase. This pilot phase, I mean, and then we have a lot of work to do in order to define the structure. But obviously, we want to extend the project first to these 30 vulnerable districts.
It's working now, Olaj. Okay.
And I guess these vulnerable districts are also in Vitoria.
Yeah, of course.
And and then to extend the program to all the Basque Country in the second.
Really nice. Thank you, Joserra. Thanks a lot. Olaj, we see the presentation now. You can start. I'm sorry, Joserra, we'll continue later. Floor is yours, Olaj. We don't hear you. Probably you have your microphone mute.
Now?
Now, yes.
Okay,
please.
Perfect. Thank you, Aitor. Well, I was saying that, well, thank you for inviting us to this webinar. I think this will be a helpful share of experiences. And well, I'm going to tell you about our project, which is called Agree. And we want to tell you how we are going to mobilize an investment of 8.5 million of euros in energy efficiency retrofitting in the next 3 years, which is the duration of this project. It's an H2020 project. It's a project development assistance course. So basically, a little bit over 500,000 of the budget of this project. It's only for the partners of the project. It doesn't finance any kind of building works of the residents of the buildings that we are trying to retrofit. So it's something that has to be very clear for the residents and the owners who are going to be engaged in this project, that no money from the European Union goes to their pockets. So as I say, it's a 3 years project. We are running a little bit with delays because we are due to the COVID. We have some of the activities With the engagement of the residents, we cannot perform, so we have to delay them. As you can see, AGREE stands for aggregation and improvements, improved governance for untapping residential energy efficiency potential in the Basque Country. So it's located it's a project that it's located in the Basque Country. It's led by the housing department of the Basque Country. Then it's Tecnalia participates in the project as the research center. We have 3 local housing and urban redevelopment agencies, one for each territory in the Basque Country. These municipalities are Basauri in Vizcaya, San Sebastián in Gipuzkoa, and in Sánchez 21 in Vitoria, in Álava. And we also have the IOBE, which is the Basque Government's environmental agency, who leads all the public engagement for replication of this through their municipalities network to share all this experience also. So, why AGREE? Why are we involved in this project? As Jose Ra has said already, the grounds for the needs of energy retrofitting in the Basque Country. As you probably know, Basque Country features one of the oldest housing stock of Southern Europe. More than half of the residential buildings in the Basque Country were built in between 1940s and the 1980s, just before the thermal regulation came in place in Spain. Therefore, there is a lot of energy saving potentials of these buildings. But as we probably know, that energy is not the most urgent problem for residents to go on for a refurbishment, because here we have a moderate climate, and therefore energy savings are not a priority for them. And so we have to find other drivers for building retrofitting. And which is probably in this type of buildings, it's improvement of accessibility. So the energy rehabilitation of private residential buildings is a huge challenge, as we already said. Also, what's there, because of the long returns of times of investment in energy efficiency, and also we have these fragmented structures of the property. It's really difficult to reach agreement to carry out these rehabilitation processes. So also we have the social perspective. Also, these houses are probably occupy, or the people who live there are low and medium income residents. So their financial capacity is quite low. And in fact, most member states have already gone on offering public grants, especially, well, we know that the Basque Country has been doing it for many years, since 2006, to promote integral retrofitting, including, of course, energy efficiency measures. But these grants, they notice that, well, on one side, they don't cover the whole amount of the investments. So owners have to go on dedicating their own savings to finance the cost of the investments, or either they have to access to private loans. And so Basque government has noticed that these grants usually goes or reach those communities which have already a capacity of to be organized, and those who can supply that the amount of the grants with their savings, or they have access to commercial loans. So these are all these barriers that we found that public grants are there, but they are not reaching the right population. So to tackle these challenges, AGRI aims at triggering investments in energy efficiency, retrofitting of private multifamily building estates, and through the design, deployment, and dissemination of innovative and replicative mechanisms with the following effects. As you can see there, we want to activate demand and aggregation, find specific financial solutions, and improve governance. When we talk about demand activation and aggregation, we are talking about offering an integrated approach to rehabilitation, not only including energy efficiency, but also improving habitability and accessibility. When we talk about specific financial solutions, what we want is to settle to base demand segmentation, and so it has to be tailored and to a combination of grants and loans. And for that, the Basque government has a retrofitting fund, so they can make agreements with different financial entities, so it can be many other traditionally excluded population who cannot go for commercial loans. This way will can apply to these loans. So this is the aim, to reach this traditionally excluded population, so we can unlock all this energy rehabilitation and housing. And of course, we have to improve governance on all these processes, and we need to ensure that all the all agents participate in the process, from residents to financial communities, professional local entities. All the relevant stakeholders are engaged along the whole process, with the support, of course, of the local authorities, and this to have this multi-level coordination, let's say. So as I pointed out before, this is the overall objective of AGRI project, to trigger investments on energy efficiency retrofitting of private multifamily residential buildings in the Basque Country. And so we will deploy these innovative mechanisms for demand activation aggregation, which is another of the key points of this project, and improve governance and tailored financing solutions. To complete this overall objective, we have other 4 specific objectives, which basically deals with having a characterization of this diagnosis of the building estates that in which we are going to work. So that will allow us prioritization of the areas where to intervene. We will design a deployment package tailored to these building estates, typologies, and to allow different financial mechanisms. We have 3 pilot projects where we are going to mobilize all these investments. and we want to spread it through all these lessons learned and the methodology we are using in this project. We will disseminate it. So these objectives are translated to work packages, as you all know, in European projects. We have, of course, the management work package. Then we have the assessment package in which we are performing a detailed analysis of the selected areas in these 3 different municipalities. Third work package is about facilitating how we are proposing improvement of the grants and loans based on this segmentation of demand, and we will promote different mechanisms for aggregation and improvement of governance and management protocols. With these 2 packages, work packages, we are going to implement an action plan that's been already co-designed by the municipalities, all these agencies, and we have the commitment to retrofit 510 dwellings, which means an investment of, as I said, 8.5 million euros. And of course, we want to replicate this process in all municipalities from the local to European level through the Agri Academy that we are designing for this task. So this is the Agri Action Plan. It's an action plan that is very similar in all the 3 municipalities. But of course it has its particularities and it's allocated to the different locations. We start with the selection of the areas. We have meetings with residents. We have there is a budget allocated in the project for contracting the preliminary studies. So that's already paid by the commission. So residents already have these preliminary studies, so they can go on evaluating which solutions are the best for them. Then we go on with the agreements on residents. They will have once they have had their agreements, they will hire the technical teams to develop, to write the technical projects. With that, they will be applying for the grants and loans to the different financial institutions according to their needs. And once we have the grants and loans resolution, that's where our project ends, let's say. That's the building works. They are committed to with the Commission, with the European Commission, but it's not due on this project. So these are the 3 participating cities: Basauri, as I say, in Vizcaya, San Sebastian in Gipuzkoa, and Vitoria-Gasteiz. We at the proposal phase, we already had some pre-selected areas based on existing planning or programs in their municipalities. For example, in Basauri, the municipal land use plan already had defined some areas. In Donostia, San Sebastian, it was based in the municipal housing plan for the promotion of accessibility. So we had identified some areas where the municipality already wanted to had study. And in Vitoria-Gasteiz, they had some socio-urbanistic studies. So this is where we are going to focus today, and we are going to explain our methodology for prioritization in this case study. So Vitoria-Gasteiz has already performed some socio-urbanistic studies. In some areas, they were expanding these studies to other areas. The analysis that we are performing is based on a project that we performed, the innovation in urban regeneration a few years ago. And it's based on statistical data, and it's, as you can see, it's represented on geographical information system. So to the typology that AGRI is the target of the AGRI project, is the building stock, of course. We are looking for homogeneous sets of residential buildings. Buildings built between the 1940s and 1970s, so they have many thermal problems. We are focusing on 3 floors high or more, and so probably these buildings have suffered from accessibility problems. And they are typically inhabited by middle-class, middle-income population, and they probably have a hardship to finance energy retrofitting. Our prioritization is, as I said, we proceed with this characterization at census section scale. We have a series of indicators, as you can see there to the left, which includes indicators such as accessibility, if they have elevator or not. Well, let's say half of it's related to the state of the building, and the other half it's about the socioeconomic priority index. Okay, here we have accessibility, state of the building, percentage of buildings in that area that has been built in this range of years, if the buildings have gas or not, and if they have any efficient heating or not. And then the socioeconomic priority index is calculated by the population, the percentage of population older than 65 years old, and a range of income. As José was saying, the OpenGela is focused very much on vulnerable areas. Ours is not focused on that. We are ranging incomes of between 13,000 euros and 25,000 euros of annual income. And that's because we have studied the subsidies that are offered by the Basque government, and below that range, those are people who probably need social subsidies. And above the range of 25,000 euros, those people are not eligible for individual grants, but they still can access to financial loans with better conditions, not only commercial loans. So with this prioritization and these indicators, we have comparative information of all the municipality, and where we see the needs according to the state of the building, the priority according to the economic profile, and we have a mixed information, and as you can see, it's visualized on GIS. And these are the ranges that the categories that we are comparing. So, as I said before, here.
Sorry, Olatz.
Yes.
1 minute more to have time for some questions.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, 2 minutes. One. Okay, as you see here, we are missing the opportunity factor. Okay, and this is that due to the COVID-19, we have not been able to perform the activities we had planned with the residents, but still. We identified that 2 of the neighbors in Vitoria-Gasteiz had already an initiative for an H2020 project, and there were some local associations who were already willing to participate in this kind of retrofitting projects. So we are going on with analyzing these areas, these neighborhoods. So we have performed a detailed analysis. So we have characterized all specifically these areas and these buildings. So we have selected these pilot sets and analyze, including in the population indicators, in which we analyze the population of the age of the population of the buildings, accessibility indicators, where we can see if they have elevator or not, if it's mixed. The absence, the absence of elevators with all people, building indicators, so we can see what is the average of the indicator of energy efficiency, and also the regime of the property, if they are mainly people which is being rented, or buildings which are housing that it's empty. So with all this, we are capable of identifying the needs of each of the buildings according to the residents. And now we will go on with approaching the residents. We don't want to go on and announcing anything before we talk to the residents. So we still missing all the informative meetings with them, participatory processes, and so on. And that's something that hopefully we can start doing in September. And I think that's it. And thank you very much for your attention. And you have all the details for our parts there. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Olatz. Thanks a lot. So Jeremy and Christine, are you